Hello YouTube, my name is Flightsimguy, and today I want to take a moment to talk about a subject that I've been meaning to talk about, but was having a hard time trying to figuring out how to explain it since it's kind of tricky. Today I want to talk about SIDS and stars. SIDS and stars is one of those topics in aviation that, for the most part, the sim is just optional, and for the longest while I didn't know what they were and I didn't use them. But now that I've kind of sort of figured out what they are, I thought I'd go ahead and make a quick video. I'm going to try and run through this in about 20 minutes to explain what SIDS and stars are. Alright, so I'm sitting at Cincinnati International Airport. To demonstrate SIDS and stars, I'm going to go ahead and use a flight plan going between Cincinnati and Atlanta, primarily because both are big airports and both have lots of SIDS and star charts, and it'll be a good platform to demonstrate. Alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and define SIDS and stars. SID is a standard instrument departure, also known as departure, or departure charts. Stars are standard arrivals or arrival charts. Now, big picture, what is a SID and what's a star? Well, it's very, very simple. Let's go over to this chart. This is Sky Vector, and I have it set up with world high turned on, and all these lines you see here are essentially highways in the sky. And a SID chart is a standard instrument departure, and all that means is it's an on-ramp from the airport area to one of these highways in the sky. And a star chart is a standard arrival. All that means is it's an off-ramp from one of these airways into the airport approach area. Now that's the big picture definition of SIDS and stars. What are they used for? Simple. Big airports have lots of SIDS and star charts associated with them. Why? Because it helps organize the air traffic. You don't want planes just flying about willy-nilly. You got to have them organized. So SIDS and stars help with that. Also, they greatly reduce the workload of pilots, and I'll explain why in a second. Specifically, a SID and star, all they are is a collection of waypoints and how to fly them. That's all SIDS and stars are. I did a video earlier on waypoints and how to use them and understand them with regards to flight planning. And SIDS and stars make work a lot easier for air traffic control because the waypoints are already predefined in the charts, and the air traffic control can tell a plane to simply fly a SID or fly a star. And by doing that, he's saving himself many minutes of giving instructions to the pilot with regards to what to do. Now that's the academic description of SID and star. Let's go ahead and put it into use. So we are at Cincinnati International, and let's pretend as if we're going to go to Atlanta. I'm not going to fly it. I'm just going to go ahead and do the flight planning to show you how it works. We're at Cincinnati. So first, let's take a look at the flight plan. This is the flight plan that I used to develop in SimBrief to go from Cincinnati to Atlanta. And like I said, I use these two airports because they have SIDS and stars. Because of what SIDS and stars are, smaller airports probably may not have them because they don't have a lot of traffic coming in and out. Airports that don't have a lot of traffic probably won't have SIDS and stars because you don't need that detailed level of organization if there's not a lot of air traffic. So this is the flight plan. Here's the details of the flight plan. And with regards to the flight plan, what we're talking about is the waypoints for lateral navigation, which is this section right here, the flight log. This has all the waypoints and the altitudes you need to fly them and whatnot. And if you ever used SimBrief before, all this should look familiar to you. Now, this is the route. Let me go ahead and pull up another file. Alright. As I was saying before, this is the route or the plan itself for this particular plan to go from Cincinnati to Atlanta. Now, before we go into how it's implemented, let's take a look at this. You have this set of characters here, this set of characters here, this set of characters here. Now, based on my experience, I can tell you that this is a SID, this is a star, and this is the intermediate waypoint. So a flight plan using SIDS and stars, the flight plan itself are just the waypoints in between the SID and the star, okay? Because based on where you're taking off from and how you're landing, the SID and star from the various airports can change, or there are different SIDs and stars you can choose from. Now, with regards to this particular plan, this plan right here is identical to this plan right here. How is that? This SID, as I said before, SIDs and stars, they're a collection of waypoints. So this SID, CHCLL4, actually comprises of this waypoint, and this waypoint. This star clot, or Colt 1, is compiled of this waypoint, this waypoint, this waypoint, this waypoint, and this waypoint. And to show you that, if you come down here, here's your flight log. That right there is the SID. And I said before, here's the first waypoint. Actually, it's missing the first one, CHCLL4, but that's fine. Here's the second waypoint, Pony, right here. Third waypoint, IIU, right here. Next waypoint is Skin. And as you can see, the waypoints are showed under the SID. And with regards to the star, it's the same thing. For Colt 1, you got Drac, Colt 1, Drac, Nuto, Rome, Erlin, and Colt. So that's the definition of SIDs and stars and how they show up on a flight plan. Now, let's go ahead and implement this. Let's show you how this works when you actually do flight management computer programming with regards to SIDs and stars. Before I do that, let's go ahead and actually take a look at what these charts look like. So in Cincinnati, as you recall, CHCLL4, this is the star chart, or the SID. And as I said before, it's basically instructions on how to fly waypoints exiting the Cincinnati area. And in this case, it shows you where you need to go, what altitude, what waypoints, what heading from the various runways. And that's the first page. Here's the second page. And it shows you specifically exactly what you need to do. Now, you can fly a SID and a star manually without using the flight management computer. You just go ahead and take off, turn on the autopilot, and follow these instructions. Or, and this is how it's most normally used, is programming the flight management computer with the SID and star information. Now with regards to Hartford or Atlanta, Colt 1, I believe, is the star chart, and here's what the star chart looks like. Here's the first page, and here's the second page, which shows easily what the instructions are on how to do the how to use the star chart to come in. Now, I'm not going to go through the details here. Just know that here are your waypoints, and it shows you the headings between each of the waypoints and what altitude you need to be at. When you have the time, you can go ahead and study this, but just understand the big picture, what they are. Alright, so let's cut to the chase and get to the fun stuff. We're going to program, I'm going to show you how to program the flight management computer with the SIDs and stars. So first, what we need to do is let's get some juice in this bad boy. I'm in my favorite plane, ERJ 145. Let's go ahead and turn on the power. APU is spooling up, and while that's happening, let's go ahead and bring up the interface for the flight management computer. Now remember, different airports, depending on the size, have various star and SID charts. To confirm that, let's go over to Chrome, and in the case of Cincinnati, I'm in skyvector.com. I just pull up the airport. These are all the star charts, and these are all the departure charts, or SIDs. Now, there's many because large airports have traffic coming in and leaving in all sorts of directions, the entire 360 relative to where the airport is. Same with in It has traffic coming from all directions and going to all directions. So which SIDS and which star you use, if you're building the flight plan by yourself and you're not using SimBrief to tell you what SIDS and stars you're going to have to use, you're going to have to go in there and figure it out manually yourself, which star chart you need to use, because you may need one star to go north and a different star to go, a different SID to go north, or a different SID to go south, east, west, and whatnot. Same with regards to arrivals. But in this case, we had the flight plan with all the SIDs and stars and all the waypoints and whatnot. So going back over here, first thing we need to do, let's go ahead and initialize our position. We're at Cincinnati. And with regards to the flight plan, all you need to enter is, first thing you need to enter is your destination. We're going to go to Atlanta. And at this point, all you need to enter are the waypoints in between the SID and the star. So all you need is Bowling Green, BWG. And we know it's going to be the first one. And then you enter your destination to close the flight plan. Now remember, you only need, in this case, you only need the waypoint that's in between the SID and the star. And that waypoint is Bowling Green. If you look at the summary flight plan itself, here's your star, here's your SID. So when you're programming the flight management computer, when you do your route or your flight plan, all you're going to enter is the intermediate waypoint. In this case, Cincinnati is relatively close to Atlanta, so the only waypoint in the middle is the Bowling Green intersection, or the transition point. Alright, let's go back over to FSX. Let's go ahead and do a basic initialization because we don't want to miss anything. Let's pretend we're going to go to flight level 330. Let's go ahead and use a fuel that's right here. It's probably not enough. Say we want 1,000 pounds of cargo, and we're going to take 5 passengers. Alright, clear that out. Now this is the flight plan. You have Cincinnati, you have one single waypoint, Bowling Green, and you have Atlanta. This is what it looks like if you try to map it here. Let's go ahead and close that. MFD, joystick, skip, just one waypoint, and that's all that's there. Okay? Now, here's where SIDS and stars get very complicated, or unnecessarily complicated. Let's say you're on VATSIM, and you're going to fly from Cincinnati to Atlanta. And you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and run my SimBrief, get my flight plan, and program everything into the flight management computer before you take off. And after you program everything in, you call the VATSIM traffic controllers to get your clearance. At that point, you're going to be sort of disappointed, because what's going to happen is, and this has happened to me every time, I'll choose a specific SID, and the VATSIM controllers will screw up my plan and say, you know what, we're not flying that SID today, you're going to program this other one, and you're going to have to reprogram the whole thing yourself. So the point is, whenever you're going to fly, if you're going to fly online and you want to keep everything real, don't punch in your SID and stars until air traffic control tells you to do so. All you need is your departure, your destination, and the intermediate waypoints. If you do enter the star or the SID, there's a good chance ATC is going to change it, and you're going to find yourself reprogramming in your flight management computer while you're flying, and that just adds more complication than is necessary. Now with that, I've heard that in America, SIDs and stars are assigned to you by ATC, and in Europe, you can go ahead and submit your SID and star as part of the flight plan, and they'll let you fly it. Anyhow, back on point. So here's your flight plan. Departure, transition point, or your single middle waypoint, and your arrival. To enter your SID, if you're going to be taking a SID, what you do is you go to nav, then you enter departure. You will know what runway you're going to need to take off from. ATC will tell you. Just go ahead and enter. In this case, we're going to choose 27. I'm not sure what runway we're on, but we'll enter 27. And the SID that we want, Here it is right here, CHC LL4. Now the fact that it's here and also on SkyVector, that's not a coincidence. SkyVector.com, this is not, to the best of my knowledge, for simulation. This is all real world stuff. And these SIDS and star charts, they change every so often. Every couple of months, the FAA, they go in and they update stuff. And to make sure that your simulator has the latest SID and star chart information, you need to have a subscription to Navigraph, and I do. So every so often I run an update and it updates all that information in the Navigraph database. Otherwise, you may see CHC LL3, and that means the information is outdated. In this case, it's current. So we'll go ahead and select our SID. Our transition happens to be Bowling Green, BWG. That's the same waypoint we entered earlier. And in this case, your transition, that's like the waypoint that connects your flight plan to your SID. So in this case, we enter this and just go ahead and hit activate. And all that does is it inserts a bunch of waypoints into your flight plan. See? Now, in theory, let's say you want to fly the SID, or you want to fly the SID, but for some reason your database is outdated and you don't have it when you go to set it up in your flight plan. In theory, all you need to do is grab the waypoints from the flight plan and manually punch them into your flight management computer as normal waypoints. Because remember, a SID and a star is simply a collection of waypoints. So you don't have to enter the SID in the departure interface. You can manually punch in the waypoint yourself. But the whole purpose of SIDs and stars is to ease the workload on both pilot and ATC. So let's go back over here. We entered our SID, and you get your clearance, go ahead and taxi, and you take off. You don't normally enter your star until you are in the zone, when you're about to descend. Air traffic control, normally, the VATSIM guys, they will assign the star chart for you. So you went ahead and you take off and you're flying, and it's time to descend and enter your arrival and your star. What you do is you go to nav, you go to arrival, and you don't need to enter the runway or the approach. If you want, you can just enter the star. Or if you have all information, you can enter all three at the same time. If you think about it, you got your star, which takes you down from the jetways to the airport area. The approach is based on what runway you're going to land at, and then the actual runway. In this case, let's just go ahead and pretend that we're flying. We don't know our approach or our runway, but we want to select a star. You hit star, Colt 1. As you may recall, Colt 1 is the star chart that we want from Atlanta. This is what it looks like. All you need to do is come over here, enter Colt 1. You don't need, and here's your Bowling Green transition. In this case, like I said, Cincinnati and Atlanta, there's only one transition point, so you enter Bowling Green and then hit activate. And what it does, it enters, here it is right here, Bowling Green is your transition, and these are the waypoints for the star chart that it entered. Again, if your Navigraph, if your database of waypoints is not up to date on your simulator, and you don't have the star as part of the departure or the arrival offerings, all you need to do is go to your flight plan, and you can manually enter the star waypoints right into the flight plan. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and close that. Alright, so to review, we went ahead and we fired up the flight management computer and we entered our SIDs and stars. Now this is what the final plan looks like. In the ERJ, you can review your flight plan by going to this interface and then just hit skip. And as you can see, can I zoom in closer? Yes, I can. Here's my starting point. And these are all the waypoints to go from Cincinnati to Atlanta. And as you may recall, when I set up the FMC the first time, all I had to do was enter my departure airport, my arrival airport, and one intermediate waypoint. You enter your SID after you've confirmed it with ATC by going to the departure interface, and there you can enter the runway you're going to take off from, the SID or the departure chart you're going to use, and your transition waypoint. And when you're in flight and you're about to descend, ATC will give you your star, your approach, and your runway. Now if you're not flying on VATSIM, let's say you're flying a multiplayer session with another person online, there is no air traffic control, there is no ATC AI. In that case, you can go ahead and set up your flight plan. Use whatever SID you want, use whatever star you want, no one's going to change it for you. And for the most part, I think that's it. To help understand how all this thing works, go ahead and pull one of these SID and star charts and just study them. It looks complicated, but after a while everything makes sense. And you know, it might help your flying if you like to fly the commercial jets in and out of busy airports. Anyway, I think that's it for now, and I think I've kept it under 30 minutes. That'll be all, folks. Flightsimguy here. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.